Picture this. It's 6:47 in the morning. Your alarm hasn't gone off yet, but something woke you up anyway. Not noise, not pain, not a bad dream, just your mouth. It feels like you swallowed a handful of chalk dust sometime around 3 a.m. and nobody told you. Your tongue is practically glued to the roof of your mouth. Your lips feel like they belong to someone who just crossed a desert for 7 days straight. And you think to yourself again, if that scene sounds familiar, I need you to stay with me for the next 30 minutes. Because what most people assume is just one of those annoying little things that comes with aging is actually your body trying to hand you a very specific warning note. And most people never read it. They ignore it. They buy an expensive mouthwash. They move on. Today, I'm going to read it with you, line by line, word by word. I'm Dr. Franklin, and if you're new here, this channel exists for one reason: to give adults over 60 the kind of clear, honest, research-backed health information that doesn't get squeezed into a 7-minute doctor's appointment. We don't do fear-mongering. We don't do clickbait. What we do is connect the dots. We connect dots between everyday symptoms that seem minor and the bigger health picture underneath them. And today's dot connecting exercise, it starts in your mouth. But it absolutely does not end there. Before we dive in, hit subscribe if you haven't already, because next week we're covering something that genuinely shocked me when I reviewed the data. A specific combination of two very common medications that may actually be robbing your body of one critical nutrient. You're going to want to catch that one. But right now, dry mouth. Let's talk about what's really going on. Here's something most people don't know. Saliva isn't just spit. Your body produces somewhere between 1 and 1.5 liters of saliva every single day. Let that number sink in for a moment. 1 to 1.5 liters. That saliva coats your teeth like armor made to repel acid. It neutralizes the acids that cause tooth decay. It carries enzymes that start breaking down your food before it even reaches your stomach. It contains antibacterial compounds that actively fight infection in your mouth and throat. Saliva is in many ways a first line of defense for your entire body. So when you wake up every single morning and that defense system has essentially gone offline overnight, that is not a trivial thing to brush off. That is not something to ignore. Now here's the part that changes how you think about this permanently. A landmark study published in the journal Oral Diseases looked at adults over 65. Chronic morning dry mouth, medical term is xerostomia, was present in nearly half of the participants, nearly half. But here's the finding buried inside that statistic, the finding almost nobody hears about. In over 80% of those cases, the dry mouth was not the problem. It was the signal. Think about the difference between a smoke detector going off and a fire. The smoke detector is not the emergency. It's the announcement of one. Waking up with a dry mouth every morning is your body's smoke detector going off. And today we're going to figure out which fire it might be pointing to. There are 5 primary causes I want to walk you through. And I'll tell you right now, at least one of them is probably going to make you stop and think, wait, that might actually be me. That might actually be why I wake up like this. But before we get into this, take a moment and say hello in the comments. Tell me your name and where you're watching from. I read every comment, and I'd love to know who I'm helping today. All right, because number 1, the medication puzzle. The number 1 culprit behind morning dry mouth in adults over 60 is one that almost nobody suspects at first. It's not a disease, it's not a deficiency, it's not some exotic issue, it's the medication sitting in your medicine cabinet right now. Here's a number that should genuinely stop you in your tracks. More than 400 prescription and over-the-counter medications combined carry dry mouth as a documented side effect. 400, not 4. 400. We're talking about blood pressure medications, particularly the class called diuretics. We're talking about antihistamines, the allergy pills millions of seniors take every spring. We're talking about antidepressants, overactive bladder medications, certain pain relievers, and even some over-the-counter sleep aids that seem completely harmless sitting right there on your nightstand. Now here's the catch that most people, and honestly even some doctors, miss. When you combine 3 or more of these medications at once, the dry mouth effect doesn't just add up, it compounds, it multiplies. Research published in the journal Gerontology found that when seniors took 5 or more daily medications, they showed nearly twice the rate of significant dry mouth compared to those taking 2 or fewer. Nearly twice. Double the problem. And the average American over 65 takes how many daily prescriptions? Between 4 and 5, plus supplements. I had a patient Let's call him Gerald, retired postal worker, 71 years old, meticulous about his health. Gerald had been dealing with severe morning dry mouth for almost 2 years. 2 years of waking up miserable. He'd seen his dentist 3 times about cavities that seemed to come out of nowhere, like they just appeared. New cavities in a mouth that had been cavity-free for decades. He was using every oral rinse on the shelf, every brand he could find. Nothing worked. He told me, "Dr. Franklin, my mouth feels like sandpaper every morning. I wake up and can barely swallow. I have to drink water immediately or I panic thinking something's seriously wrong." He was scared and frustrated. When Gerald came to see me, I asked him to bring every bottle from his medicine cabinet, every single one. His blood pressure medication, his allergy pill, his antidepressant, his arthritis medication, everything. We lined them up on the table, 6 prescriptions, 3 supplements, 2 over-the-counter products he used regularly, lined up in a row like a pharmacy shelf. Within that lineup, I found 4 items known to reduce saliva production. Not 1, 4. All interacting together, creating a perfect storm in his mouth. We worked with his prescribing physician to adjust the timing of 2 of those medications. Not even the dosage, just when he took them. Morning versus evening, separated from each other instead of taken together. Within 3 weeks, Gerald called me. He said, "Dr. Franklin, I woke up this morning and my mouth was normal. Actually normal." I couldn't believe it. His morning dry mouth had gone from a 9 out of 10 to a 3 out of 10. Gone. Transformed. No new prescription, no fancy treatment, just connecting the dots, just understanding what was actually happening. Now here's critical. If you're taking blood pressure medications, antihistamines, or certain antidepressants, and you notice dry mouth getting worse, don't just accept it as aging. This is the time to have a conversation. This is the moment to act. Before you make any changes, though, check with your doctor first. Your medication was prescribed for a reason, a good reason, but the timing or combination might be adjusted without affecting the benefit. Or you might need to switch to a different medication in the same class that doesn't have this side effect. You have options. Most people don't know that. Here's your action step for this one. Write down every single medication and supplement you take. And I mean everything, including things like melatonin, ibuprofen, antihistamines, blood pressure medication, arthritis medication, vitamins, all of it. One comprehensive list. Bring that list to your next appointment and ask your pharmacist specifically. Could the combination of anything on this list be affecting my saliva production? Could something be changed? Could the timing be adjusted? Pharmacists are extraordinarily knowledgeable about drug interactions and side effects. They often know more about medication combinations than doctors do. And this conversation is free. Most pharmacies offer medication reviews at no charge. Call and ask. You might be surprised by what they tell you. You might learn that switching one medication changes everything, or that taking your pills at different times of day makes a huge difference. Small adjustments, big results. Cause number 2, the silent nighttime thief. Now I need you to pay very close attention here, because this second cause affects tens of millions of Americans, and research consistently shows that the majority of people who have it have absolutely no idea. They're walking around unaware. We're talking about obstructive sleep apnea. Here's the simple version of what happens when sleep apnea occurs. The soft tissue at the back of your throat collapses, partially or fully, while you're asleep. Your airway gets blocked. Your oxygen drops. Your brain sends a panic signal. Your body jolts, gasps, or shifts just enough to reopen the airway, and then you fall back into sleep, all without you knowing it happened. Most people never consciously wake up during these episodes. They have no memory of it in the morning. But here's the connection to dry mouth that most people never make. When your airway is blocked, your body does what it has to do to survive. It defaults to breathing through your mouth. Mouth breathing. Mouth breathing across an entire night evaporates saliva at a rate that nasal breathing simply doesn't. You're drying out your mouth 8 hours at a time. You wake up with a mouth that feels like it hosted a wind tunnel all night long. But here's what matters, what really matters. The dry mouth is the least of the concerns here. It's the visible symptom of something dangerous happening. Research from the American Heart Association has found that untreated sleep apnea in adults over 60 significantly elevates the risk of stroke, irregular heart rhythms, and cardiovascular events, significantly elevated. Your heart is under stress every single night. A separate analysis published in the Journal of Clinical Sleep Medicine found something even more concerning. Seniors with undiagnosed moderate to severe sleep apnea had measurably higher rates of cognitive decline over a 5-year follow-up period. cognitive decline, brain function getting worse, year after year. So if your body is waking you up with a dry mouth every morning, and the underlying cause happens to be sleep apnea, that dry mouth isn't the story. It's the table of contents. It's the preview of a much bigger problem. How do you know if this applies to you? Ask yourself these questions, honestly. Do you snore? Have you ever been told you snore loudly? Or that your breathing sounds strange during sleep? Have you heard that yourself? Do you wake up exhausted, even after what should have been a full night of sleep? Consistently? Do you have unexplained morning headaches, waking up with your head pounding? Do you find yourself falling asleep in chairs and waiting rooms during calm afternoon moments when you really shouldn't be tired, fighting to keep your eyes open? Any combination of these, alongside morning dry mouth, should absolutely prompt a conversation with your doctor about a sleep study. And here's the good news. Modern home sleep studies are done with a small device you wear on your wrist and fingertip. No hospital, no wires running across your body, no overnight clinic stay. Many Medicare plans cover this fully. It's worth one phone call to find out. If you're still here with me and finding this helpful, type 2 in the comments. It lets me know you're watching and getting value from this. Because number 3, the blood sugar connection. Let's talk about blood sugar. Specifically, I want to talk about the people who have a problem with their blood sugar and don't know it yet. The silent majority walking around unaware. According to the CDC, approximately 38 million Americans currently have diabetes. 38 million. But here's the part that should make every senior pause. Nearly 1 in 4 of them remains undiagnosed. Think about that number for a moment. 1 in 4. That means millions of people are walking around right now with elevated blood sugar levels causing real measurable damage to their bodies. Damage that's accumulating every single day, without a single diagnosis on their chart. Here's how elevated blood sugar and dry mouth connect. When blood glucose levels are consistently high, your kidneys go into overdrive. They're trying to filter and flush out the excess sugar. To do that efficiently, they pull fluid from other tissues throughout your body. From everywhere. This creates a kind of slow systemic dehydration. And one of the most noticeable places that dehydration shows up is in saliva production. Your mouth dries and keeps drying. An NIH-backed analysis found that among people with poorly managed type 2 diabetes, persistent dry mouth was one of the most commonly reported daily symptoms. And in many cases, the dry mouth had been present for a year or more before the diabetes diagnosis was even made. Your mouth was warning you. Your body was sending signals. Nobody connected the dots. I want to be very direct with you here. If your morning dry mouth comes with any of these other signs, you're urinating more frequently than usual, especially at night. Every night for a week, that's a sign. You feel unusual fatigue that doesn't improve with rest. You've been tired for months? Note that. You've noticed cuts or small wounds taking longer to heal than they used to. A paper cut that won't stop bleeding. That matters. Your vision occasionally seems blurry in a way it didn't used to. You have to pause to focus. That's important. Do not wait for your next routine physical. Call your doctor this week. Ask for a fasting glucose test and an HbA1c. The HbA1c gives your doctor a 3-month window into your blood sugar average. It takes less than 5 minutes to draw. One small test. It can catch something your dry mouth has been trying to tell you for months. I had a patient named Sarah, 62, retired accountant. She'd always been careful about her diet. She exercised regularly. She took her vitamins. She'd done everything right, or so she thought. And then she noticed her mouth felt perpetually dry. Always. Every morning. Every afternoon. Dry. She assumed it was just aging, a normal part of getting older. She started buying expensive mouthwashes, specialty rinses, things that promised to help. Nothing worked. It got worse, actually. Then one year at her annual physical, her doctor ran an HbA1c as routine screening, standard preventive care. Sarah had type 2 diabetes. Her fasting glucose was 132. She had no symptoms beyond the dry mouth. No pain. No obvious warning signs other than that chalky feeling in her mouth every morning. The diagnosis shocked her. "How did I miss this?" she asked me. "How can I have diabetes without knowing?" But here's what's important. Once Sarah knew, everything changed. She didn't panic. She took action. She made specific changes. She changed the timing of her meals. She added protein to breakfast. She adjusted her exercise routine. 3 months later, her HbA1c dropped from 7.3 to 6.4. Dramatic improvement. Her dry mouth improved dramatically. Her energy returned. She felt like herself again. And the reason I'm telling you Sarah's story is because it's about detection. Early detection changes everything. Finding it early means you can manage it effectively before it causes real damage to your nerves, your kidneys, your eyes. Cause number 4, the dehydration deception. This fourth cause is one that surprises people because of how simple it sounds. But the biology behind it is genuinely fascinating and important. Chronic dehydration, simple dehydration. Now before you say, I drink plenty of water, hear me out, because hydration in adults over 65 works differently than it did when you were 40. Here's what happens as we age. The hypothalamus, the part of your brain responsible for signaling thirst, becomes progressively less sensitive, less responsive. The research on this is consistent and well established. A study published in the Journal of Physiology demonstrated that older adults can reach fluid deficits of 2% or more of their body weight without experiencing meaningful thirst signals. In plain language, your body can be genuinely running low on water, and it simply won't tell you the way it used to. Your built-in warning system is broken. Meanwhile, your kidneys become less efficient at conserving water as you age. Your skin loses moisture more readily. And if you're taking diuretics for blood pressure, which we already talked about, you're losing even more fluid than your peers who aren't. The result is a population of older adults who are quietly dehydrated through most of every day, chronically. And the only outward sign they might notice is that sticky, dry mouth every single morning when they wake up. The practical fix here is one of the simplest on this entire list. Stop waiting to feel thirsty. That signal is no longer reliable. That system has failed you. Instead, build hydration into your day the same way you take your medications. By the clock, not by feeling. Aim for a minimum of 6 to 8 glasses of water spread across your waking hours. Let that sink in. 6 to 8 glasses, not one big glass, spread out. One with breakfast, one mid-morning, one at lunch, one after lunch, one before dinner, one after dinner. Small amounts throughout the day. Set reminders on your phone. Or keep a water bottle in every room you spend regular time in. Your bedroom, your kitchen, your living room, your study. Make it impossible to ignore. And take note, caffeinated beverages and alcohol don't count toward this total. They actively accelerate fluid loss. They work against you. Now here's where I need to be specific. If you're currently on blood thinners like warfarin, or lithium, or ACE inhibitors, please speak with your doctor before making significant changes to your daily fluid intake. Hydration levels affect how those medications behave. Your kidneys process them differently based on water intake. Your doctor will want to know. It's important. If this opened your eyes, share it with someone over 60 who keeps waking up with a dry mouth and thinks it's just normal aging. Most people have no idea their body stops signaling thirst properly. No idea. Cause number 5. The overlooked autoimmune condition. The fifth cause is one that generates more undiagnosed cases than almost any condition I discuss on this channel. And if you're a woman over 55 watching this right now, I want you to pay especially close attention. Sjögren's syndrome, spelled Sjögren's, is an autoimmune condition in which your own immune system mistakenly attacks the glands responsible for producing moisture. Specifically, the salivary glands and the lacrimal glands. Those are the glands that produce tears. The result is a body that gradually loses its ability to keep itself lubricated. The mouth becomes persistently dry all the time. The eyes become dry, gritty, and irritated. Joints can ache. Fatigue can become disproportionate and unrelenting. Exhaustion that doesn't match your activity level. Now here's why this condition belongs on this list. 90% of Sjögren's diagnoses occur in women. 90%. It's predominantly a women's disease. The average age of diagnosis is the late 50s to early 60s. And studies published by the Sjögren's Foundation estimate that it takes the average patient between 2.5 and nearly 5 years from symptom onset to receive a correct diagnosis. 2 to 5 years of suffering unnecessarily. Why the delay? Largely because the primary symptoms are dismissed as normal aging. Dry mouth. Oh, that's just getting older. Dry eyes. Try some drops. Fatigue. Well, you're not 30 anymore. If those phrases sound familiar, if your morning dry mouth consistently comes paired with dry, irritated eyes, joint pain that doesn't have a clear explanation, or fatigue that seems wildly out of proportion to what you're actually doing, please bring up Sjögren's syndrome by name at your next appointment. A simple blood test can screen for it. Knowing about it changes how it's managed completely. I had a patient named Margaret, 58, school teacher. And she'd been dealing with what she thought was mild arthritis in her hands, tired eyes, dry mouth. She saw a rheumatologist as an afterthought, a suggestion from a friend. And that's when she was diagnosed with Sjögren's. Once Margaret knew, once she had a name for what was happening, treatment changed everything. Her joint pain improved within weeks. Her energy returned. She felt like herself again. The complete action plan. All right, let's bring all of this together into something you can actually do. Starting today, not tomorrow, today. Step 1. Conduct your medication review. List every prescription, every supplement, every over-the-counter product you use regularly. Bring the physical list, not just your memory, to your pharmacist or physician, and ask specifically about the impact on saliva production. You may be surprised by what a single conversation reveals. Step 2. Assess your sleep honestly. For 1 week, track 3 things each morning. Whether your mouth was open or closed when you woke up. Whether you feel rested or still exhausted. And ask your sleeping partner, if you have one, to note any loud snoring or pauses in breathing. If a pattern emerges, request a sleep study referral. Most are now done at home and are covered by major insurance plans. Step 3. Don't skip the blood sugar test. If you haven't had a fasting glucose and HbA1c run in the past 12 months, schedule it this week. This is especially important if you have any of the other symptoms I mentioned alongside the dry mouth. Step 4. Restructure your hydration. 8 glasses minimum spread across the day by schedule rather than by thirst. Keep a log for 2 weeks. Your body will respond faster than you expect. And step 5. Get immediate nighttime relief while you investigate the root cause. Look for oral rinses or gels containing xylitol. Brand names include Biotene Dry Mouth Oral Rinse or ACT Dry Mouth Rinse. Both work well. Use them immediately before sleep each night. Make it part of your bedtime routine, just like brushing your teeth. Critically, avoid any mouthwash containing alcohol, which will make the dryness significantly worse. Alcohol-based products pull water out of your tissues. They work against you. Read the label. Xylitol-based products do double duty. They moisturize your mouth, and they protect your teeth from the bacterial overgrowth that dry mouth enables. Bacteria love a dry mouth. They thrive there. Now I want to set expectations for what happens next. When you start implementing these changes, here's what most people experience. Week 1, days 1 through 3. You'll probably forget to do some of these things. You'll remember your medications but forget the water. Or you'll remember the water but forget to adjust the timing. That's completely normal. Don't be frustrated. Just reset and continue. By day 4 or 5 of week 1, you'll start noticing patterns. Maybe you're urinating more. That's actually a good sign. Your body is responding to the increased water. That's the system working. Week 2. This is when you might start feeling annoyed. You're setting phone reminders for water. You're keeping a log. It feels like a lot. Your old way was simpler, but push through. This is temporary. Just 2 more weeks. By the end of week 2, you'll notice something changing. Your mouth might not feel quite as dry when you wake up, just slightly better. That small improvement is proof it's working. That's your signal to keep going. Week 3, here's when things accelerate. If you've addressed the medication issue, if you've started the sleep study process, if you've gotten your blood sugar tested, you might see significant improvement. Some people report feeling dramatically better by week 3 and by week 4. Most people who stick with this protocol report meaningful changes. Your mouth feels better. Your energy might improve. If it was medications or dehydration, the changes can be profound. Now here's what I want you to take away from everything we just covered. Morning dry mouth is common, but common is not the same as normal, and it is absolutely not the same as harmless. Whether it's your medications interacting in ways nobody told you about, a sleep condition that's been quietly working against your heart and your brain while you sleep, blood sugar that's been creeping upward without symptoms loud enough to hear, an autoimmune condition that has been dismissed as aging, or simple chronic dehydration that your body can no longer signal to you. Every single one of those things can be identified. Every single one of them can be addressed. Every one. You came here with a symptom. You're leaving with a map. Now I want to hear from you. Drop 1 word in the comments below. Type sleep if you suspect nighttime breathing might be your culprit. Type meds if you're going to have the medication conversation with your doctor or pharmacist. Type testing if you're booking a blood sugar test this week. Type all if you're going to do all 3. I read every single comment, and what you share genuinely guides what we cover next. If this gave you something your last doctor's appointment didn't, please subscribe. because next week we're pulling back the curtain on a specific warning sign that a very common cholesterol medication may be doing more harm than good in certain adults over 60. It's a topic that gets a lot of questions and deserves a real thorough answer. I'm Dr. Franklin. Take good care of yourself this week. You've already taken one important step by being here, by staying all the way through. If this helped you, share it with someone who needs it. You might do them more good than you know.